us as an American force, but also
fellow Americans. Some really remarkable remarks there from the president. And Anna, the president did also add this to his speech, where he said that no matter every race, color, or creed, we are one America. And he then criticized others for trying to divide citizens by race or background. Anna, I think you know that there's perhaps no other president in modern American history who has sought to divide Americans by race and by background so much as this president. Remember, this is the president who launched his campaign by talking about Mexican immigrants as rapists. He called for a ban on all Muslims entering the United States, and he talked about a gathering of white supremacists saying that there had been
who took up arms against this nation and tried to say that's a cultural war against this nation and then equate it to Nazism. We will take down Nazi symbols the same way that we need to take down Confederate symbols. Those two things are consistent with one another, but what this president is saying is inconsistent. It tells me that he's being very intentional to incite a base in hopes that that base can grow large enough to...
When you travel the world, make sure the world travels with you. Check in, log on, and get connected with all of the latest developments at your fingertips. CNN Partner Hotels. Connected to your world.
From the Korean War are flying over Washington. These include the F-4 Phantom III fighter jet, the F-86 Sabre fighter jet, and the A-26 Invader bomber. Now, earlier...
This unprecedented pandemic that he's dividing and not seeking to unify. And it's also kind of baffling that he really has this sense of patriotism. And like I said before, he comes with a flag, and he has so many flags in the Oval Office, but yet he has real disdain for the four living men who came before him. And there is this President's Club, this fraternity of people who know what this position is like. And it's important, you know, JFK reached out to all three living predecessors during the Cuban Missile Crisis. At a time of great peril in our country, it would be helpful if Donald Trump was more patriotic and did reach out to the men who came before him.
Doug, what will historians say about the moment that we're in this presidency?
This July 4th, Donald Trump is showing us how Joe McCarthy would have acted if he had become president. McCarthy was obviously just a senator from Wisconsin who raised havoc with his anti-communist crusade. And here you have a president of the United States on July 4th in the middle of a ceremony on the National Mall, TV cameras around the world, using the opportunity to divide our nation, to call his opponents radicals and good-for-nothing, anarchists and the like. This is appalling. I mean, it's been wonderful to be with General Hertling on this show, and he knows very well that that's not how George Marshall would have acted, or Dwight Eisenhower, let alone Ulysses S. Grant or George Washington. This is a day to fortify the morale of all Americans and to really try to build the community that is the United States of America. And one may have thought at Mount Rushmore he was doing it as a Friday night speech and maybe a weird one-offer from the campaign trail, but to come back and double down on it today, you know, it deludes from the majesty we're seeing with the aerial show and the wonderful aircraft that saved our democracy in Korea and the Berlin, airlift in World War II and the
our jobless rate and our economy, all of those things are really things we should be reflecting on and trying to solve, as opposed to just celebrating with military hardware. Don't get me wrong, I'm all right with military hardware. It's great. It's the way I spent my career. But really, for a nation, as Professor Brinkley said, you really have to understand the history and the foibles that we have, and how do we move forward and fix the many challenges and problems that we also face.
Thank you all for those thoughts. Please stand by. Don't go anywhere. I want to continue our conversation. I do want to let our viewers know we're looking at Black Hawk helicopters from Desert Storm. At least that era is where these helicopters come from. Quick break. We're back after this.
Mask wearing and physical distancing, but You know, as was said, most people are taking this seriously, and so we'll just have to, you know, continue to get the message out of what people need to do so we can prevent the spread of COVID-19.
Everyone, please stand by. I want to remind our viewers we are just 15 minutes away now from the top of the hour in our special with Dana Bash and Don Lemon, who will be bringing you a whole bunch of musical entertainment, and of course will also be helping to walk you through, and we have the grand fireworks demonstration tonight there in D.C. The musical lineup, by the way, includes people like Jewel and Barry Manilow and CeCe Winans and Don McLean, and there are so many more. Again, it's Don Lemon there. They're enjoying these flyovers ahead of tonight's fireworks show, and my panel is back with us now. Derek Johnson, as we celebrate freedom today, liberty and justice for all, you know, this nation is in the middle of a collective reckoning on race in the darkest parts of this country's history. How does the celebration of July 4th fit into that reckoning?
You know, Langston Hughes, one of
Derek Johnson, Kay Anderson Brower, and Dr. Harris, I really appreciate it, and that is going to do it for me this evening. I'm Ana Cabrera in New York. I really appreciate you spending part of your 4th of July with me. Our CNN special